Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 10 of class. We are going to be diving into a bunch of different material this week, and I've combined, or whatever word you want to use, I have brought together two significant topics that we're going to be looking at this week, and really each of them deserves probably their own week to 2 weeks worth of time to really unpack all of the implications that they brought. But we are going to be focusing in on the Industrial Revolution. And as you will see, the Industrial Revolution really began in earnest following the War of 1812, and actually slightly before it. You may or may not recall, but the Embargo Act implemented by Thomas Jefferson actually encouraged manufacturing, which is, again, against Jefferson's better desire. He was looking for an agrarian rural kind of society based upon kind of a non-market-based, sort of consumption-based farming society. But the Embargo Act actually encouraged manufacturing, and once the War of 1812 concluded, or actually, erupted and then concluded, we lost a significant trade partner with Great Britain, and so we were forced to begin a process of industrial development. And so that's what we're going to be looking at this week. The Industrial Revolution really begins with Samuel Slater and the bringing over of pirated British technology. Indeed, the British had begun a process of industrialization long before the United States really got going on it, but we will begin that process. And the majority of industrialization began and took root in New England, although by 1816, the South actually had the same amount of manufacturing centers, and this is specifically South Carolina, had the same amount of manufacturing centers as the North did, but as time would go on, of course, the New England would boom, and specifically they're booming with respects to textiles. And so we're going to be looking at Lowell's factory and the Lowell girls who worked in this textile factory, okay? And one of the things we are going to note is that there is a deep connection between New England manufacturing and the Southern slave-based economy. Quite frequently we overlook that there is a deep connection there, and we'll talk about that in this week's lecture. But lots of things we're going to look at. And then the other topic we're going to be focusing in on is antebellum reform movements. And you've probably heard of one of these reform movements. That's, of course, abolitionism. And abolitionism is, of course, the move to abolish slavery. One thing I do want to make clear is that there is a big difference between being an abolitionist, and an abolitionist is one who wants to see slavery completely eradicated and gone, and quite frequently abolitionists wanted to also see social and political equality. But there's a difference between abolitionists, as I've just defined it, and those who would be regarded as anti-slavery folks. Anti-slavery people were generally content. They were okay with allowing slavery to exist where it already was. They just didn't want to see it extend into the new Western territories. And quite frankly, oftentimes anti-slavery people were just as racist as Southerners. They just did not want to compete with slavery economically, and so they didn't want to see it grow. So abolitionism is one reform movement, but we're also going to be looking at temperance, women's rights, among others. So lots to look at this week. Of course, you've got your discussion board and all that fun stuff. So that's what we got going. If you have questions, contact me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, as always, go in peace, be warm and filled. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper, and may the odds forever be in your favor. Have a blessed week, guys.